Welcome back to DIVEBOMB IndyCar Podcast. We have a very special guest on this week. It's the first time, I think in about 2 years, we have Kyffin Simpson on the show. So Kyffin, welcome back after all this time. It's great to have you on. What have you been up to last couple of days since Road American? Just generally, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I think, I've had a great week off, getting back to Barbados, and it's been a long time since I was there, and probably similar amount of time since I was last on y'all's show. So, what a coincidence they both happened in 1 week. Had a nice weekend off, and got to see some old friends and family, and now I'm back and ready for Mid-Ohio.
I just want to find out a little bit more about Barbados. And when saying kite surfing is your kind of activity mainly, what does kite surfing entail? Because I've seen clips of it, but I just want to know a little bit more about it because it looks absolutely wild.
So kite surfing is it's kind of like wakeboarding, if you've ever done that. You just kind of swap out the boat for a kite, and the kite kind of pulls you along, but it's a very similar board. And you just, you use a kite to pull you along and surf or do tricks or whatever you want to do.
Is it a very adrenaline junkie kind of activity, would you say?
Maybe a little bit. It can be pretty chill, but if you're going for tricks and stuff, it can get pretty crazy.
Have you taken any other IndyCar drivers along with you before?
Yeah, a couple times. I took Marcus Ericsson a couple years ago, and that was fun. He did well. He got up and riding pretty quick. And then I've tried to take Scott a couple times, but haven't gotten him out there yet. So that one's still on the bucket list.
Being away from Barbados / the Cayman Islands for so long, is there anything you particularly miss? Like, I guess it's geographically close to America, but I guess kind of culture, maybe climate is a little bit different.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's fairly similar to Florida, climate-wise. It's a bit warmer, like through the winter time, but not totally different. So yeah, I mean, I'd miss it. It's just it's a nice place, great people, great food. So there's a lot of things I miss about it, but we're busy in the season, so I don't get down there too much.
Talking of nice places, we're coming off the back of Road America, which I know people tend to love as a racetrack. So pretty good weekend for you. So I guess just talk us through it. What are your reflections on that? Because you're best on a road course so far, I think I'm right in saying. So yeah, just talk us through it.
Yeah, I was very happy. We started off the weekend really strong, and kind of the whole weekend we were really strong on the black tire. We just couldn't really get the reds to work for us. And that's kind of what hurt us in qualifying. And but we knew that we were going to be fast in the race, and we knew we just had to stick to our strengths, and I think we did that well. And then the pace was just there. Like from very early on, I was able to move forward and make progress, and then we kind of got caught out by yellow, and that brought us back to the back. But then the next one worked in our favor and moved us back forward. So it was a bit of a crazy race. That there was a lot going on at all times, it seemed.
And I know from our perspective, there was a bit of confusion. Like we thought you'd finish third, and then Power was on the podium. So what was going through like your team's head at that point? Like, did you think you were third? Like, when did you realize you weren't third? Just talk us through the race finish.
Yeah, it was tough because we did think we were third. And by everything we could see, we were third, because the EM panels came on after I had already passed Power. But the way IndyCar explained it to me is the way the system works, that determines where we are in the running order, just works a little bit faster than the EM panels do. And so that had me still behind power when the yellow was called. So a little bit disappointing there, but it is what it is, and it was still a great day for us. I think a P4 was still super solid from us for where we started, and we ran a strong race as well, so I was happy about it.
So I guess, did it change how you felt about the weekend? Like when you did obviously lose the podium, so to speak, like was it frustration? Like just what did it change in terms of kind of your reflections?
Really not much. I mean, the only difference is we weren't on the podium. We didn't get some hardware to bring home. That's really the only difference. But I mean, I thought that as a team, we put on a really strong weekend. The pit stops were solid. The strategy was good. Even when we look back at the things that we think we might have done wrong on strategy, I still think that in the moment, I don't think it was really a bad call. Staying out the extra lap and then getting caught by the yellow, you could maybe call that a mistake, but early on in the race like that, I feel like maybe it's worth the risk because then you've got the chance to come back. So ultimately I was really happy by the whole team's performance, and I felt like we just executed a strong, clean weekend.
As Archie mentioned, this was your best career finish on a road course. Prior to that, it was Road America last year. Your only pole Indy next took place at Road America. You got a lot of podiums at Road America in your junior career. So good results there. Is that something circumstantial, or is there something kind of in particular about that track which just really suits you and your driving style?
I don't know. I've just always really loved that track. I think a lot of drivers do. It's just such a classic American road course, and there's so many features to it that are just fun. Every lap there is just a fun lap. Even if even in a boring race, if you weren't around anyone just doing laps by yourself, it would still be a fun race. So I don't know. It's just one of those things that I've always loved it. It's kind of come more natural to me than other road courses, but it's just kind of a place that I've always felt comfortable at, and since I've moved to IndyCar, it's again been somewhere that I'm comfortable at and tend to do well at.
And we've reached the halfway point in the season now. Following Road America, we've slightly crossed that now. So kind of how would you assess the first 10 races of 2026 so far, just kind of in general, maybe in comparison to maybe what you've done in previous years?
I'd say I'm not totally happy about it, to be honest. I feel like we've missed some opportunities and haven't had the start to the season that we were hoping for. I think we just, sometimes it's one thing, sometimes it's another, but for whatever reason, we haven't really had the results that I've wanted this season. But I do think we're catching more of a stride, and this kind of second half of the season is more tracks that we were very good at last year. Going to Mid-Ohio, I qualified third there last year, and I felt like we were very fast in the race. Obviously, we had some issues, but I think we cleaned those up this year, and we'll be looking good.
And I guess looking back to the beginning of this year, building on last year, which was obviously such a big step forward for you, what were your sort of targets coming into this season? And I guess what do you kind of still need to do in terms of trying to meet any targets that you may have set for yourself this year?
I mean, kind of my big season goal since the end of last season, I guess, is top 10 in the championship. We're not far off it. I think it's like 20 points or something like that. So, a lot to play for, especially with 8 races to go now. And yeah, I mean, other than that, we got to get that first win. That's the next goal. So, those are kind of the two main goals I've got set for the rest of the season.
So I guess, obviously halfway through year 3 now, when you reflect back on 2024, obviously kind of coming into the deep end from Indy Next, while obviously still very young, like, was there any point where you maybe during that year questioned the move that you decided to make for that season? And I guess ultimately now you are in your 3rd year. What have the benefits of maybe coming into IndyCar quite young actually been?
Yeah, it's it's a bit of like playing ifs and buts with that, it's one of those things that's like, oh, but if I did another year in Indy next, would I have been better off, and this and that, and it's a lot of like hypotheticals, but you never really know. I do think racing IndyCar is very different to racing Indy next, and because of that, I think getting into IndyCar early was helpful. Just getting to run the laps in the car and getting to be accustomed to how we race and how the strategies play out and how you have to save fuel and save tires and all those things. And I think all of that's just compounded each year, and I just keep learning more and just keep getting better and better.
And I guess like focusing on getting better, when you look at the jump that you made from 24 into 25, like what were maybe some of the specific things that you feel allowed you to make that jump? I know obviously qualifying was a big thing that you seemed to make a step forward on last year. So what were some of the differences, maybe some of the things that you learned to make such a step forward last season?
I don't know that there's anything real specific that we learned. I think in 2024, we just kind of, anytime we showed up at a track, we would start the weekend off fairly slow. For the most part, I feel like there were a couple times where we started off decent, but for the most part, we would start off pretty slow, just as I'm learning the car at the track and that kind of thing. And then, as we would build, then I would get better and better, but it would take time. And then by the time we get into the race, I'm up to pace. But by the time quali came around in 2024, I wasn't really up to pace, so I was still learning and getting faster with every lap. And then in 2025 coming back, I just knew more what to expect and was more prepared for it, and just knew all the tracks and how the car is at each track and all of those things. So I think that was a big help, but also we did a lot of work in other cars throughout the off season, just working on qualifying.
And one thing we've kind of really seen you develop on is the ovals. Obviously had a standout performance in Nashville last year, you had a good run at Phoenix this year, your best Indianapolis 500 to date so far this season. So would you say that again is just experience and familiarity on ovals, or is there something kind of greater to it that you've learned in the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think it's a good amount just experience and comfort. I also think the team has just done a great job helping me learn and figure out the little tips and tricks of ovals and oval racing. I think Dario's been a huge help for that, and I thank him a lot for that. And he's just kind of been that mentor for me, helping me, throughout any race weekend, but especially oval race weekends. And yeah, I think we still have some progress to go. Our gateway was subpar, I would say. But I think with Milwaukee coming up, well, we've got Nashville first. That was the track we were strong at last year. Hopefully we can go do the same thing we did last year, maybe a couple of spots better. But yeah, I think Milwaukee coming up will be kind of the one that I've got my eyes set on for. That's where I really need to put my focus.
And you've kind of pointed towards Nashville. So looking back at Nashville last year, I know it was probably tough to miss out just on the podium there, but it was a pretty high way to kind of end the season for you. So just talk us through that battle that you had with McLaughlin and just kind of the importance of that race, maybe for you to just showcase to yourself that, okay, you've kind of got some good foundations on ovals. Just, reflect back on that way to end last season.
Yeah, it was really good for me. I felt like that whole weekend, we felt really comfortable. We had tested there a couple weeks before, and at the test, I felt good. It kind of felt like we had just found something and found kind of my sweet spot in car balance and performance. And we were just, from the moment we rolled out the trucks on for race weekend, we were just comfortable and fast. And that, I think that was my best oval qualifying at that point as well. And we just ran strong the whole race, and I don't know, just something kind of just clicked and it just worked. And I think it's a very different oval compared to the other short ovals we go to. Like it drives very differently to a Gateway or a Phoenix or a Milwaukee. It's not really a short oval. It's kind of more of a super speedway kind of feeling. So I feel like it doesn't fully translate, but it's good to know that we figured that one out. And well, now we just have to make sure that we can repeat it.
And you're now 2.5 years into your IndyCar career, and obviously you're always learning, but you've done maybe the majority of your learning to this point in your career. So kind of now we've seen all those improvements, what do you need to work on further to maybe get that top 10 in the championship that you mentioned a little bit earlier? What are kind of your main priorities to improve your performance generally even further?
I really just feel like it's consistency. We've kind of shown that the results can be there when we put everything together. So I think it's more of a case of we just need to be more consistent of putting everything together. Having consistently clean stops, not making little mistakes from me on track, or being more consistent in putting in a good lap and qualifying well, and running a strong race.
And I just want to ask a bit about the environment that you've got at Chip Ganassi, because obviously you've spoken about Dario and kind of the help that the team have given you. Josh took us around the shop when we were over in Indy in May, and it was quite striking how it was just such a kind of tight-knit environment there. So how has that environment at the team kind of helped you in your development so far? And I guess just talk a bit about what makes this team so special.
Yeah, I think it's just Mike and Chip have done a great job from day one of, making that one team, one goal mentality. We're 3 cars, but we're one team. And so everyone works very well together. The kind of collective work and creativity is always flowing, and people sit very close together, so they talk about things all the time. In the engineering room, we're all sat together and we talk about things constantly and different ideas and changes, and it just creates a very open working environment, which I think is very helpful.
So whilst we're talking about the shop, at the back you have that wall of cars. I'm interested, do you have a favourite? Is there one which you dream of driving? What's your opinions on that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I really have a favorite. There's so many awesome cars back there. Yeah, I don't know that I could just pick one. It's just too many.
And obviously you are having the privilege at the moment of kind of observing Alex's greatness firsthand, really. So I'm sure you probably asked this a bit, but what is there anything specific that you maybe see from him that would separate him from the rest of the field? Like, what is it that you believe is feeding into him being so special at the moment?
To be honest, I really just think it's that consistency. Like him, the 10 car, they all just show up and do their jobs and don't make mistakes. And they just are always consistent. And that Alex obviously is driving very well. That's no surprise, but it's further than that. I think it's all the little details that they just get right every weekend. And so I think that is the bigger thing of why he has so much success.
And since you joined the team, the team has changed quite a bit. The fact you used to have 5 cars, you've now gone down to 3 cars through the charter system. You've now got Marshak Racing as a partner to the team now, so you kind of got access to their data and information. So kind of since then, has there been kind of a change in dynamic approach? Is it maybe beneficial, at least for you, to have a more centralization of resources? Kind of tell us a little bit about maybe how that's changed in the last couple of years.
Yeah, it changed around a bit. Mostly on the kind of mechanic side, I guess. Going down to 3 cars, obviously we lost a lot of people at the team, unfortunately. But I also think that we do have a very strong group still. You know, I think the guys on my team are doing an amazing job, and it just feels like they keep getting better and better. You know, at the start of this season, we were, I think, like after the first 2 or 3 races, we were like P3 and on pit lane. So they put in a lot of work in the off season, and it's really showed. And I think that they just keep working and keep getting better, and it's just great to see.
We're very much in World Cup season, so I'm kind of interested. Are you a soccer fan? Have you been watching it at all? Got no interest? What's been your viewership?
I mean, a little bit. I see, you know, bits and pieces of it, but I wouldn't say I've been following it necessarily.
Because I guess there's no football culture at all in Barbados or the Cayman Islands.
No, there is.
There is. I mean, okay,
yeah,
interesting.
There is quite a bit. Like my cousin played football at, like, in college a little bit even. He's stopped now, but he had been playing a little bit in college, and he's pretty good. But yeah, football is pretty common in Barbados. Like that's kind of like the schoolyard game we would always play. You know, like at lunchtime, everyone would go out and play football for the hour lunchtime or whatever.
Is that the most popular sport, or is there?
No, cricket's bigger.
Cricket.
Yeah, cricket's bigger. But I'd say football's probably second, at least of the ones I can think of right now.
Interesting you call it football, not soccer. That hasn't transferred over the ocean.
No. I mean, Barbados was a British country, so
yes.
Yeah, we still call it football.
Good.
Did you play much cricket? Like, cricket's pretty big over here as well. Like, is it not something you were particularly interested in?
No, yeah, I don't know. I never tried it really, but I wasn't really interested in it, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. Just not
sport. Too busy.
Always racing. Nice.
Yeah.
And I guess just to finish off, Kyffin, looking ahead to the rest of the year, it's kind of crazy to think we're over the halfway through with only 8 rounds left, and it'll really pick up, particularly in August. So what are your kind of thoughts and feelings ahead of the rest of the year? Like, any, you know, obviously you speak about trying to get top 10 in the championship, get that first win over the line. So yeah, just what's your outlook? Like, what are your kind of confidence levels going into, I guess, a good mix of tracks in this run in?
Yeah, I'm just excited, really. I think, you know, we've got some strong tracks coming up, Mid-Ohio and Nashville. I think those are 2 tracks that we have a lot of potential to do well at, and I really just can't wait to get there and get in the car and see how we run.
Kyffin, great to catch up with you again after all this time. Let's hope maybe it isn't as long for the next one. Let's hope your next trip to Barbados isn't as soon away as well. So best luck for the rest of the season.
Thanks.